Okay, hi guys, I'm back. Pattern-collections.com is where we're going to find today's pattern. Going to go down to pattern focus. And you will note that all of our patterns this week start with the letter S. This one. This one is called Sextant Border. Okay, whenever you see on the step outs at pattern-collections.com, you will note that if it has green lines, that is pencil. Okay, so this is suggested to draw the grid in, the grid can be, the outside part of the grid can be in pen, but then divide that square into half again using pencil. Okay, so step number one is this one, where we're going to take at the top and the bottom and make a little arc just like that, and we're going to aura it. And then step number two, and it's kind of hard to see, but you can see it when you get to step number three, is you're going to do 3 radial lines coming out, but you're going to go behind here in a halaba fashion. So set a parallel here, set a parallel to the corner, set a parallel to there, and you can actually see it better in this picture. And then you're going to go, you're basically going to radiate out from these center parts, or out that way. But you want them to line up here. So the final product, this is what you're aiming for, is that, and erase those 2 pencil lines. It kind of looks like spider legs or something, right? And then here is it done in various different ways. Now this one, I note that this ribbon doesn't have this. So they'd done the whole string in pencil first, and then did the thing, and then decided where they were going to put lines, which is probably what I will do. See, this one has this vertical line, and this one does not. And you just embellish as you feel led. So, let's give this a go. I have already pre-strung my tile with the weekly string. Pardon me, let me get lights on there for you. So let me think here real quick what might be the best way to organize myself here. I'm going to draw the grid with the pencil. Let's see. But I need to organize myself. I think I'm going to do something different. Give me a moment. I'm going to get rid of that. I want it wider. Noise. Oh, I forgot I had the door open. Ha! I've got the patio door open. And it's a little breezy. I forgot I had the door open. So I was hearing rustling of stuff out in the patio. Okay. So how can I get that into a string? I'm actually I think I'm just going to divide this in half this way. I think it's going to go like that. Okay, so far so good. Do I want it big or small? I think I want it small. So I'm going to divide each one of those in half. Is that too small? Yeah, that's too small. All right, that's going to be too small for me, especially when I'm first learning. I don't like to learn a pattern in a very tiny sections. I like to learn it in a bigger area. And then once I understand a pattern and I'm more comfortable with it, then I like to make it smaller. But I find that I have a hard time learning it when I'm having it in too small of a scale. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to just do it in this size scale. That was fine. Put those back and put that back. So I'm basically just going to have one here, and then I'll have a part of one here and here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I don't know if you can even see that. It's kind of light. There you go. So let's start that. So I'm only going to draw for sure I want this line. Let's start with that. And then I'm going to do my little arcs right here. Like that, and like that. And like this. And like that. And yes, the neighbors are still sawing away. Well, the neighbors' contractors are still sawing away. Right up to that corner. And then here. And here. Like that. Looks good to me. It's really hard to do this. A little bit in here. That's a bit of a challenge. Suppose we could do it without that little bit in the middle. Okay. I'm going to turn around and go this way. So if you guys watched my videos on Monday and Tuesday, you will know that I had a little dental issue. My crown fell off. One of my back teeth while I was having breakfast. And so I called the dentist, and he was super sweet and rearranged his schedule for me to come in during his lunchtime, which, you know, you don't find very many doctors and dentists that are willing to do that. So he is super duper sweet. Yeah, so I was aiming to be there at 11 a.m. No, 11:30. Aiming to be there at 11:30. So about 11 o'clock I left the house and I popped on the freeway to take my drive over there. It's usually, it's about a 20-minute drive total, about 10, 15 minutes of it is on the freeway. Usually. So I drive up the on-ramp, get to the top, and traffic is going really slow, like just barely inching along. And I thought, oh great, that's not good. But usually, you know, most days, it's inching along, but it starts to, you know, move. It goes a little bit, usually. Yeah, this wasn't a usual kind of day, unfortunately. Hang on a second, I'm thinking about how I want to do this. This way, I guess, huh? Has to go over here. Yeah, so I'm sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and I looked at the clock and I thought, there is no way I'm going to make it to the dentist by 11:30. So I, since we were not moving in traffic, I did get out my cell phone and I called the dentist office and said, you know, I am stuck here in traffic. I'm not going to make it. But I knew that they had a later appointment that I was trying not to take because I had to be at work at 3 o'clock. Okay? And a 2 o'clock appointment would make it so that I would be finished at the dentist about 3 o'clock and I would not be able to make it to work on time. So I was trying to avoid that. I'm going to do this. And so I said, well, can I take that 2 o'clock appointment then? I'm pretty sure I can get there by 2. I'm sure this will clear up here in a minute, but I won't, there's no way I'll be there by 11:30 because it was already like 11:20 when I decided that it wasn't clearing up and I wasn't going to get there. So she says, no, I'm sorry, but somebody already had grabbed that appointment. So I didn't, you know, there was nothing left. And I said, okay, well, do you have something for tomorrow? And she said, yeah, I have 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. I said, great, I'll be there in the morning. And I thought, I'll just sit here in traffic until I can get to the next off-ramp. I'll get off, turn around, and go home. That was my plan. Called my husband, asked him if he could look up on the internet what might be happening with the traffic. Apparently there was an accident right just before I had gotten on. Like I got on the freeway like at about, I want to say 11:10. And it had just happened, which is why it was the freeway was still moving when I was at the bottom of the off-ramp, and then it had come to a stop by the time I got into the top of the on-ramp. I mean the on-ramp. Yeah, so, because we were moving, we were crawling, but we were moving a little bit when I got to the top of the on-ramp. But then it came to a screeching halt, and I knew I was in deep trouble with my schedule for the day when all the big rig trucks turned off their engines, and a lot of them just got out of their vehicle and started chit-chatting with each other. You know you are in a long wait when the truckers get out of their truck. Oh my goodness sakes. I thought, I am never going to get out of here. And then the dentist called back and she says, can you get here by 2? The dentist didn't want to wait until tomorrow. He said that it was too important. It was kind of an emergency because he didn't want something else happening to my tooth meanwhile. And, you know, can I get there as soon as I can? I said, well, I have no idea how long I'm going to be here now because everybody has stopped, completely stopped. But she says, well, you know, 2 o'clock, that's, you know, it was now like 11:40. when she called me, and she goes, well, 2 o'clock, you should be able to get here by 2 o'clock. Well, one would think. Yeah, barely. I actually ended up sitting in that traffic. Took me almost 2 hours to get from where I was to the next off-ramp. Next off-ramp was about 1.5 miles from where I was sitting. Took me almost 2 hours. It was awful. And I felt so bad for whoever was in that accident, because for the freeway to be that stopped, I knew that it had to have been a fatality accident. Because, you know, when they have the fatality accidents, then they have to close the freeway for investigation, and they usually, you know, they don't want cars passing by the vehicle with the person who has passed away, so they really totally close. And I'm sure it was a horrific accident that went across many lanes. They had closed the entire freeway going the direction I was going, and yeah. So I sat there and listened to some radio. I had really wished I had more water with me. So that has done a good thing, and it's caused me to make sure that I'm going to make sure that I always have a full bottle of water in my car. You know, even if it's hot and it doesn't taste very good, it will still be quenching. I really needed to have water with me. I had a dribble of water in a cup, but really wasn't enough to last 2 hours. So that's the first thing that's going to happen, is a big bottle of water is going to get put in the back seat of my car. It was getting warm. That lovely cool day that I had last week didn't last very long, and so yesterday my thermometer on my car said it was like 85. So it was warm sitting in the car, especially since we'd all kind of turned off our engines. I didn't want to just sit there idling. My son's all, why didn't you leave your engine on? Well, I didn't want to leave my engine on because well, I didn't do that right. That would not be that. That would have been gone that way. Oh well. Doesn't matter. I did not want to sit there with my engine idling. I didn't want to waste the gas. I needed to get gas. I was going to buy gas after my dentist appointment because I was low on gas. So I really didn't want to just sit there wasting gas. So I turned off the engine and we just sat there. So that was my exciting day. I got off the freeway, ran into a convenience store, grabbed some water, used the bathroom, because boy did I really have to go after that. You know, the times that you really, really have to use the restroom are the times you can't get to a restroom. Have you noticed that? If I had plenty of access to a restroom, I would have been fine. But since I knew I couldn't get to a restroom, I was having an urgent message that, you know, you gotta go. That was never fails, right? And yeah, so I stopped. I got a big thing of water, used the restroom, and went to go get gas. And just as I was pulling up to the pump at the gas station, I had about, I don't know, half hour before the 2 o'clock appointment. Dentist office called me and said he's finished early with his last appointment. Can you get here as soon as you can? I said, well, I just got off the freeway. I'm getting gas. So I actually got there at about 1:30 approximately. He took care of my tooth. that part's good. Tooth is fine. You know, he did have to numb me up and do a lot of drilling and digging. Never any fun. But, of course, by then, there was no way I could get to work. I had to, of course, call my manager at work, tell him what was going on. It just, the whole day just kind of went, pfft. This is interesting. I like it like this. I think I'm just going to leave it like that, and I'm just going to embellish. Maybe I'll do like some sort of border here. Yeah, let's erase all these little grid marks. I like it with the bigger. If I'd done it small, I would have not have been happy. It would have been too tiny. I think I want to do it this way. So I got to work about a half hour late. Not quite, 20 minutes late. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought I would be completely a whole hour late. So that wasn't too bad. But one of my coworkers, he lost his grandfather. I think I said that. And so he's going to be out the rest of the week. That is going to rearrange some of what we do during the week. Tried to get two, we call them planograms, when we rearrange the stock on the shelves. I tried to get two of them done yesterday. There was no way. I had grand visions. It didn't happen. That's okay. That's okay. So yeah, that was my saga yesterday. But thank you guys for thinking of me and asking about it. Thank you, Ina, for checking on me, making sure my tooth was fine. I'm good with that. A little carried away there. I'll fill that line in. Okay. I am going to have to do something with my schedule for drawing videos. My son's school schedule changed pretty dramatically. His first class of the day was actually canceled. Yesterday was first day of school, and 10 minutes before class started, they got an email saying, oh, by the way, this class isn't going to happen. So all those students, 30 or so students, had to scramble yesterday to find another class. That was not cool. So that completely threw off his schedule, and that's going to throw off my schedule a little bit because now he will be home in the morning. I may just have to tell him he has to hide out in his room for an hour or so while I get some drawings done in the morning. I like my quiet time. I'm not going to get it. Just something. Not exactly sure what I'm doing, but I'm just following some instinct. Sometimes that's all you can do is follow your instinct. Looks like those, you know, searchlight things. I'm good with that. Oh, puddle jumpers. No, that's right. What did I do wrong? Oh. Alrighty then. Well, that didn't work. I'm going to a little line there. You're just going to ignore that one. I didn't do that right at all. We're ignoring that line. Won't notice it, right? No, nobody will notice it. There, there. Okay. Okay, I think I'm done. Oh, what was this called? Started with an S. We all know it starts with an S this week. Here. Sextant Border. Is it gonna live that way? I'll live this way. Okay, let's give that a little bit of shading. How do I want to shade? I'm going to something like that, maybe. Okay, where's my little blender? Am I wiggling the camera? I hope not. I see my light wiggling, but I think it's just the light. Something like that. That works. Wasn't exactly sure what where I was going with this drawing. But you know, you don't always have to know where you're going. After my experience yesterday, I know that you know, sometimes things happen. You can't control them. And you just gotta let it go, you know. And that's one of the things. Even when you're in your drawing, sometimes things happen, you just gotta let it go. And it's alright. Everything will be okay. There we go. I think that's done. Oops, goes this way, right? That way. I think we're good. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it nice and close. Okay, you guys have a really great day. I'm gonna get one more drawing done today and then get ready for work since we're short one person. We've all been called in to do a little extra on our shifts, so I am going in an hour early today. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.